A wonderful weekend of pro wrestling just concluded. My name is Ango, and we got some stories to discuss. If you guys want more videos like this, please go ahead and subscribe. Some really cool stuff for AEW. Ian Riccaboni has officially signed a long-term deal with the company, as reported by Fightful Select. It's a multi-year deal. He's obviously doing a lot of stuff with Ring of Honor, but also he is subbing in for Kevin Kelly for AEW Collision, which honestly, this is really cool. I think Collision is a really good show for AEW. It's probably, I would say Collision is my A show for AEW. And the cool thing is the commentary definitely feels different from Dynamite and Rampage. You bring in Ian Riccaboni to sub in every once in a while. That's definitely not a problem. Obviously, he is the voice of Ring of Honor. But, you know, here's the thing, man. AEW's got something really special with their commentators. I would love to see them maybe reshuffle them and mix it up a little bit just to freshen up Dynamite and Rampage. I feel like Collision definitely feels fresh. I feel like that same principle should be applied to the other shows. You know, Ring of Honor is... It's not for me, right? I talked about this before. I think Ring of Honor has definitely become a substitute for AEW Dark and Elevation. And look, the idea that indie talent could come in, they don't have to sign a full-time deal and they get paid. They can, you know, provide for themselves and for their families. That's great. Like, I think that's a really good thing that Tony Khan does for them. But on the flip side, I do think it impacts the product a little bit. We're just a few days away from their pay-per-view, and not much has been announced. Not much has been revealed. And I do feel like that is a little bit problematic. But at the same time, too, I can tell you guys when Ian Riccaboni, and not him specifically, but when ROH was basically killed off after the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, we saw that just things went really downhill. Then we saw Sinclair Broadcast sell to Tony Khan. There was a lot of questions and uncertainties as to whether or not this guy would have a job somewhere. And I always felt like, man, Ian Riccaboni would be perfect for WWE, right? And I still believe that. But the fact that he's with AEW is a good thing because I feel like AEW definitely needed to mix things up a little bit. They got a hell of a voice on their shows. Absolutely love that they've signed him. He just seems like a great dude. This guy seems like he'll be perfect for AEW. And when Tony Khan does want to reshuffle the commentary teams, don't keep him on Ring of Honor. You know, if possible, put him on Dynamite, put him on Rampage and Dynamite, or put him on Collision full time. I know obviously AEW is doing the 2-man commentary team for Collision. I would not be opposed to them doing a 3-man commentary team. I just like him. I think he's a really good voice for AEW. And obviously hats off to him because he is killing it. We got to talk a little bit about Bayley. Yeah, at a house show, Bayley got injured. It's unfortunate. So there was a fatal 4-way match: Charlotte, Asuka, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. And basically, if you guys watch the videos floating around on the internet, I'm not going to post it due to copyright issues. But it looked like she had a pretty weird injury. It looked like she was grabbing her knee. You know, she did come out on Twitter and say that everything's okay. Obviously, you know, when you're looking at pro wrestling and injuries, it doesn't necessarily need to be this super high-flying, high-risk maneuver, right? These people put themselves in danger pretty much anytime they're in the ring, right? So for that reason, you know, obviously Bayley's a very big part of WWE programming right now. There's a lot of stuff happening with her and Io Sky. Before we could start talking about fantasy booking and anything like that, man, obviously we just want to see Bayley healthy and, you know, just let her come back when she could come back and that type of thing. Obviously, what's really interesting about this is there was videos of her walking without crutches. You know, I know some people were saying publicly that she was able to walk maybe while limping, but it doesn't look like it might be that severe. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully this is nothing severe. Hopefully this is not going to keep her out of action for long. Hell of a talent. Wrestling is risky business, man. It's a risky business. And I think Bayley and Io Sky and what they're doing with the Money in the Bank stuff is really good stuff. I'm really happy to see that they're on TV. But again, health before wealth, right? That's a big thing on this channel. Guys, we got to talk about The Rock. I know this sounds so funny because The Rock, nobody knows what the hell's going on with The Rock anymore. We talked a lot about The Rock last year going into WrestleMania. And obviously there's been a lot of conversation about The Rock, and you know, right now he's got XFL, he's got his Hollywood career, he's got so much going for him and his production company. And obviously WWE is teasing something because they have Grayson Waller just basically doing a whole bunch of talking about The Rock. And a lot of people are wondering if this is going to lead to The Rock returning to the company. And it's a very interesting question, because if there was ever a time for The Rock to actually be able to do it, it's now. For those who don't know, there are tons of things happening in the world of Hollywood with the strike. And basically with the strike that is going on, a lot of people are impacted by this. Apparently some people aren't impacted by this. Now, I don't know too much about how Hollywood works and their unions and things like that, but WWE has something happening here for a reason between The Rock, Grayson Waller, and then you have the Bloodline. You have to wonder if The Rock is returning at SummerSlam. You have to wonder if they're trying to sneak that in for a one-off appearance. It would be very interesting to see how WWE goes about it. But, you know, at SummerSlam in Detroit, if you really, really want to, you could, I'm not saying they will, but you can have Grayson Waller do the Grayson Waller effect, being joined by The Rock. The Rock hits him with a rock bottom, right? You could do something like that. And then if you want to end the show, you can have The Rock. I mean, this is just fantasy booking to the highest level of fantasy booking, but you could have The Rock cost Roman the belt, give it to main event Jay. Roman can move on to The Rock. I mean, I don't think that would ever happen because the storyline so far has been building towards something with Solo, Jay, and Roman, obviously. But I'm just saying, if The Rock is already going to be there, you could do some sort of tease or something. You can give the fans something to look into. But I don't know, man. I feel like The Rock and his WWE career is pretty much over. I know you never say never, but he didn't come back for WrestleMania. He didn't come back for the match with Roman. And I said this last year. I'm like, man, if he doesn't come back for 39, I don't think we see him at WrestleMania 40. And I don't want The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. I want Cody or Solo or Jay. Like I want that, you know? But we'll see. We'll see what WWE does. It's going to be interesting. That leads us to our final topic of today's video. Guys, if there's one thing I really appreciate about Impact Wrestling, anytime somebody gets injured, anytime somebody departs the company, it seems that Impact Wrestling does a really good job of being prepared. And I think a lot of this is due to their booking, establishing a very strong mid-card. At any point in time, because of the strong booking, they have people who are ready for that top spot. That's one thing I really do appreciate about them, because let's face it, the reality is people leave Impact to go to AEW or WWE. And some of these people leave and they go off and do a pretty damn good job elsewhere. And sometimes these people leave and go to another company and barely get on TV. And it sucks, right? Because Impact does a very good job with many of these wrestlers. But with that being said, there's a story that's come out that Nick Aldis and Zicky Dice have left Impact Wrestling. And we all know that AEW at one point was interested, according to the rumors and the reports that are out there. We all knew that AEW was interested in Nick Aldis, but there was this belief that WWE was also very interested in Nick Aldis as well. Now, I was at the tapings at Impact. I'm not going to give spoilers, but if Nick Aldis is in fact leaving Impact Wrestling because now he has finished up with his deal, according to PW Insider, I would not be shocked if WWE goes and makes a play for Nick Aldis. And I mean, look, let's face it. Nick Aldis was in Impact for a very short run. He didn't win the championship at Slammiversary. I understand why WWE would be interested in Nick Aldis. But like I said, if that one thing that I appreciate about Impact is they're always ready, they always have people lined up to take those top spots, this doesn't hurt Impact as much as people would think because of the strong booking in their mid-card. So if WWE signs Nick Aldis, great. They better use him. If AEW signs Nick Aldis, great. They better use him. And if Nick Aldis left NWA to go to Impact for a short run and then finds himself going to one of these larger companies and not being used, it pretty much proves the point that I've been saying, that Impact Wrestling is one of the best when it comes to utilization of their talent. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think Nick Aldis is going to WWE? Do you think he's going to AEW? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.